Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we are doing a project recipe for the new Autumn collection, the Autumn Cottage. And if you haven't seen this collection, let me tell you, it is so pretty. You're going to fall in love. If you like fall, and I'm a fall loving person, I love fall. I wait all summer long for those high temperatures because I live in the high desert here in Utah. So the temperatures for us through the summer range between the low 80s to the high 90s and sometimes even low hundreds. And so we stay really dry and we just get a lot of warm weather during the summer. And I grew up in Southern California where it would be warm all day, but then it would cool off in the evenings. So I really look forward to the cooling off. So we finally have had a temperature break here. I don't know about you guys, but today, as I'm filming this, today is supposed to be our last day of temperatures in the high 80s. And starting tomorrow, temperatures are supposed to be below 80 and stay that way for a while. So hopefully we are in fall, real fall, not fake fall. So let's get to my workspace. We're going to do the Autumn Cottage project recipe today. I think you're going to have fun with this one. It's actually relatively simple and it turns out really cute. So let's check it out. All right, here's my workspace for today. Welcome to Autumn Cottage. If you haven't already seen Autumn Cottage, this is the new fall collection that came out about a month ago. And this is a beautiful, beautiful watercolor collection of fall colors. It's lovely. I know that's a bit repetitive to say, but it is lovely. And I have noticed that a lot of these colors seem like they are going to blend really, really well with our Croptoberfest colors. So I'm excited about that. We have, I have laid out the papers here so that you can see a nice selection of this whole collection. This is not the entire collection because I have pulled 4 papers, I beg your pardon. I've pulled 4 papers to work with in the project recipe for today. I've pulled both of these green and apple slice papers to be the base for our project recipe. I pulled this paper right here, which is this one, and on the back of it is this mustard sweater textured paper, which is lovely. And I pulled this pumpkin piece right here that has this beautiful kind of collage of oranges and yellows on the back of it. So those are the papers we're going to use today, which I'll show you again in just a minute. But these are just beautiful. I love the leaves. I love all the green tint and the oranges and yellows in these leaves, and then the teal addition, the plaid paper. This is sort of like a what I think of when I think of anise, which is a spice, or like the center of an apple is what this design reminds me of. And so that's really neat. And then the wood is on the back of this, the anise design. So just some really, really neat papers in the Autumn Cottage collection. Along with these beautiful papers, they have given us some really, really cool things. So we've got, of course, the matte pack with these fun circles, which you could cut into separate circles if you wanted to. You could use the circle punch and punch out the ones that you want to use. You could use your scissors and fiddly cut around them. You could use your custom cutting system and cut these out, or you could just use the whole mat and or a portion of the mat in your layout. So really, really fun addition to the mat pack this time. We also have layered borders. These are layered border embellishments for the Autumn Cottage. They're designed to go with Autumn Cottage, but what I love about these, you get 8 of them in a package, and previously we got laser borders like this that came with a certain number in the package, but there were only one of each. And while there are still only one of each, this package includes complementing ones. So you can use these two together, you can use these two together, you can use these two together. I mean, you could create your own scene on a 2-page layout using these cool layered borders. Or you can get a double set, or get another set and then have matching ones if you wanted. But you don't have to, because they're giving you complementing ones. See, these two go together, the pumpkin patch and then your yard. You know, just very, very cool stuff. I'm glad that they have decided to kind of help us out in that way. These are, this one is kind of stuck, so give me a second. There we go. These are just a really fun addition to our layouts, so a really nice possibility there. And then we have a vellum paper pack. So I had someone comment on my channel not too long ago that they would really love it if I could give them some ideas for using vellum. And I plan to do that, so it is in my schedule, so you will see that in the coming weeks. And I'm actively seeking ideas so that I can share some fun things with you to use with this vellum package, as well as a few that we've gotten in the recent past. So if you have vellum from other projects or other collections, hopefully I will be able to give you some ideas for using that as well. We're not going to use the vellum today because it's not called for necessarily in the project recipe, but it is an option, which is really, really nice. These are the stickers that come with this collection, and aren't they just beautiful? You've got 2 sets of 12-inch stickers. I love all these leaves. That's just, wouldn't that be so beautiful down a Thanksgiving table, like as a runner? You could make a border that looks like a table and use that as a runner down the middle. I think that would be so cool. Anyway, let's see. Lots of cute little signs to the pumpkin patch, the trail, the apple orchard, scenic route. So this is going to be a great collection for prior to Halloween, as well as all of your Thanksgiving photos are going to be great on here. So I hope that this is a collection that you will use and get a lot of benefit from. I think it's lovely. It's just beautiful. All right, so we are going to go ahead and jump into the project recipe for Autumn Cottage today. You can see from the sample photo that they've got on the top of the project recipe that they are using 2 different papers for their base here. And while that's completely up to you, and you can definitely do that, I tend to like it better when my bases match. I'm just weird that way. I'm a matchy-matchy kind of person. So, you know, just like my mom drilled into us that you don't wear white after Labor Day, because her mom never wore white after Labor Day, but her mom's purse and shoes and gloves and everything always matched because that was the era that her mother grew up in, and so I guess she instilled that in me. I don't know. I just really like it when things match. Okay, so I'm going to be using this green paper on both sides of my layout for my base, and then I'm going to be using these two papers as my designer papers. Now, you might say, well, those look a lot alike. They do, but we're going to be using alternate sides of these, and so all the colors are designed to complement each other. So that's what we're going to go with. The green's going to be the base. These two we're going to cut into mats and some circles. So I'm going to put my bases up there first of all. we're going to pull out some circle templates. So if you have your CCS patterns, you are going to need your green blade and the medium circle, and then you are going to need oh, it looks like they've used the medium circle for all of these. Let's see. Yep, they're using the outside and the inside of the medium circle. So that's all you need, and just your green blade. So let me grab that. Okay, so here's my medium circle and my green blade. Okay, so when we get that far, I've got that handy. And we're going to need our trimmer. So I'm going to grab my 12-inch trimmer. All right, and let's go ahead and let's see. Just going to move that out of the way. I'm going to adjust this, and we're going to go to page 2, which is the cutting guide. So here is the project recipe cutting guide for designer paper number 1 and designer paper number 2. Designer paper number 1, trying to remember now how I wanted to do this. This one is designer paper 2. This is designer paper 1, the one with the trees. Okay, so we want to be careful, since this is a directional paper, we want to make sure our trees are standing the right direction. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we're cutting left to right like this, which means we're going to need to turn our paper this way so that we're cutting left to right. I hope you're following me with that. Okay, we're going to cut it at 6.5 inches 6.5 inches this way. That's our first cut, and that's to make these mats. So I'm going to go ahead and measure to 6.5 inches and cut. Then I'm going to take the piece we've measured to 6.5 inches, and I'm going to turn it and cut 3 pieces that are 4 inches wide. Okay, and that's going to mean we're going to need to trim our photos, remember, because a photo is normally 4 by 6, and we want it to have a little bit of a border around it. So we're going to need to trim our photos down just a little bit to make them fit into these mats. But we can do that. Okay, so I'm just going to lean my mats up here so that they are out of the way. Then I'm going to take this piece again that we cut off, and we're going to do the rest of this. So we need 4 pieces that are 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to measure this to pass that first line on the right to the second line. That's going to give me 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to make 4 pieces. Side 4. All right, and then the remaining bit of this paper we're going to save to punch some shapes with. So I'm going to set that over here to the side. We'll get to it. And these strips I'm going to leave over here as well. All right, so now I'm going to grab this paper. This paper is going to be our other designer paper number 2. We're going to cut some circles using our CCS pattern that we pulled out. Then we're also going to cut 3 more mats. So I'm going to make sure, since this is directional on this side, just in case I want it to be right side up, I want to make sure that my pumpkins are going the right direction. Okay, so we're going to cut this at 6.5 with my pumpkins facing to the side. And then that way when we cut them into mats, the pumpkins will be facing the right direction. Okay, so again, 6.5 by 4. There's 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Then the remainder of this paper we're going to cut circles with. Okay, we're going to grab this circle. I'm going to flip this over because I think it'll be easier to see on this more solid colored background. It's not really solid, but you know what I mean. More monochromatic. So we're going to cut a 5 1/4 inch circle. And so I'm going to center this as best I can between all the edges of my paper. And if you're ever not sure whether your blade is going to cut correctly, or if you don't want to get a flat edge on your circle, what I do is I set my blade into the channel. So I put the little posts into the channel on my CCS pattern like that, and then I set my template down, and I can see where the blade is, so I can push that closer to the edge and just sort of move it gently around to make sure that it's not going to go off the paper. My blade won't go off the paper. Okay, so that's going to work. So I'm going to cut this, and again, it doesn't matter which direction you go. Some people I usually cut going to the right or clockwise, but you can go counterclockwise if that makes you happy. If you like to use your left hand, that works sometimes better. Okay, so we've got this piece. Then we're going to cut 4 pieces from the center, still using our green blade. Let me just confirm that that's right, because I just don't want to cut it wrong. So we use, for piece K, that's this one, we use the outside of the circle. Then for L, M, N, and O, we use the inside of the medium circle with the green blade. So we're going to cut 4 circles using this on the inside now, not the outside. So little circles. And sometimes I will try to get it as close as possible, and other times I just don't want to fuss with it, because if you get it super close to the outer edge of your paper, sometimes it tears, and then it makes you really unhappy when your paper tears and you have to start again. So don't do it unless you're just really, really brave. All right, so we're gonna do, this is the number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the remainder on this end, it says we're going to use to punch shapes. So we're going to leave that attached and just set it aside, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, so that one and that one are for punching shapes. All right, so coming back over here to our pages that we're going to assemble, I'm going to grab just one of my base pieces. I'm also going to grab my trimmer so that I can cut this larger circle in half. If you don't know the secret about cutting a circle in half the easy way using the 12-inch trimmer, I'm about to reveal it to you. This is the coolest thing. If you cut circles in half, you are going to love this. So on the top and the bottom of this trimmer is a little shoulder. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one on either of the short sides over here to the right of the blade. And if you take your circle and you rest your circle right on those inside corners of those 2 shoulders, it will center it perfectly right on the cutting line. Okay, so just lean it right on those 2 lines and then cut right down the middle, and you have a perfect half circle. Okay, so there's our 2 half circles, all ready and good to go. All right, so now let's go ahead and get this assembled. So we're going to use 2 of one and 1 of the other on each of these layouts. So 2 of one and 1 of the other. So these 2 will go on the other layout. Now, knowing which side of this you want to use as your strip that goes across will help you determine which side is going to go up as your mat. Okay, so whichever one is going up as your mat, you want to use the opposite as your strip that goes across. So I could do like that, or I could do the opposite, like that. And most of this is going to be covered by a photo. So I think I'm going to go with this one because I really love these trees, and most of this yellow is going to get covered by a photo, but I will still have an edge that I'll see, and sometimes having that edge be a little more monochromatic is a better idea. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. We're going to do the trees as our borders and use the solids as our mats. Okay, and I'm going to just scoot these a little bit out of the way, grab my adhesive, and then this one you can use either side, whichever one makes you happy. Okay, so according to the cutting guide, they've got us using one side and then using the opposite side for our circles. So I think I'll probably use the gourd side up, the pumpkin side up for the mat, because then I can punch pumpkins out using the other side. Is that what I want to do? Well, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Okay, so we want to center these mats. That's going to be our first goal. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use my mat or my grid on my tabletop. So I'm going to find my 10 line. There's my 10 line. And I'm going to lay this directly on my mat. If you don't have a big green mat like this that you're working on your tabletop, I hope you have the self-healing mat that Creative Memories sells, the gray one with all the grid lines on it, because that one is awesome and you will really, really like using it. It's great when it comes to lining things up. So this very first mat is what we are concerned about lining up, and we want to center it. Remember, this is 6.5 inches wide, so half of 6.5 is going to be 3.25. So we're going to find the middle. The middle's here at 16. I'm going to count back 3.25 inches and put the edge of my paper right there at the quarter mark, and the other edge of my paper right along the edge of my green paper. Okay? That's going to make it easy for me to come back in with these other mats and just lay them down right where they go, edge to edge, with no issues. So it's worth taking a minute extra to make sure that first one goes down right where you want it, because that way when you put the third one down, it goes down exactly right. Okay, Then we're going to go ahead and add adhesive. I add about 1/2 inch of adhesive on the top, the bottom, right in the middle, and then halfway in between, or roughly halfway in between each of those spots. And then this one's going to fit snug right up against those mats. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with this one. Make sure if you're using the trees, just take a second and look at them and make sure that you've got them going the right direction, because it's harder. It's not impossible, but it is harder to lift this off and flip it around if you get them upside down. Alright, so there's that. Now we're going to take half of our circle, one of our halves of circle, and this one's going to go very close to the edge down here, about 1/4 inch from our outer edge, because this is our left-hand page. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. Then we're going to take 2 more. I'm going to grab this one, and I'm putting it roughly about 3/8 of an inch from the edge of this half circle. It doesn't really tell us exactly where to put it, so I'm kind of making that up as I go. But it makes sense to me. And this one I'm going to line up in the same place, but about 1/4 inch apart here. Okay, so there's our first page. Now we're going to do the right hand side of the page. So let's grab this other one. We're going to line it up again the same way that we lined up the other, here at the 10-inch mark on my grid. Let me line it up so that I can make sure it's level. So line it up with a horizontal line as well. Okay, and this time I'm going to use one of the pumpkin mats to be my first one on. Okay, remember this is 6.5, so we need to line it up at 3. So 16 is our half mark. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 1/4 out and line up the horizontal edges with the edge of our paper. We'll go ahead and lay that down, and then the yellow sweater material, sweater weather. I'm so excited for sweater weather. We came home from California where the first week that we were there it was overcast and rainy and just so fall, and then it got warm a little bit. The second half of the time that we were there it got warm again, and we came home to 85, 90 degree weather. It was 90 degrees today, guys. 90 degrees. That's not fall. Someone forgot to tell somebody. I'm so ready for sweater weather. Are you? Are you ready for sweater weather? I am. Alright, so there's our second one. Now we're going to go ahead and get these outer borders down. Okay, this is the way we need to go. Some of the trees are very easy to tell which direction they're supposed to go, and some of them not so much, so it's interesting to figure out. Alright, so this is our last 12-inch wide piece. I'm finding that looking at the green trees is helping me see my directionality better. So if that helps you, if you're using the same paper choice in your layout, look at the green trees. They will help you determine which direction they need to go. Okay, so there's that. Now we need to go ahead and get the other circle put on. So we're gonna, like that. And this one's gonna go in the same place but opposite. So it's about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, the outer edge. But the straight edge is right on where the edge of the mats are. Okay? Then we've got these last 2 circles. And then just for variance of color, I've tried to kind of put put the opposite of whatever's on the edge of this with that one. I just think it looks cooler. So we'll go with that matches. Let's turn it like so. So a bit like that. All right, so now we get to play with some embellishments. And you can see that they've added embellishments to each of these smaller circles, and some words to this circle down here, and some trees to this circle up here with a kind of a little title sticker. You can you can certainly do that if you wanted a larger title, if you were going to maybe cut a larger title on your Cricut or your Silhouette machine, or use letter stickers. You could certainly add a title right here. I think it would be very appropriate to do. And you could even carry it over across and onto this page if you wanted to, depending on how large of a title you had for your page. So that's just something to consider. You could also have it go here and then down here, and that I think would be cute. You could, let's see, they're using the gourd, I can't remember what we called it. Sorry, give me 1 second, I'm grabbing it. The Gourd Time punch, which has all of these different options of pumpkins and squash. Can you see that? This unfortunately sold out fairly quickly after this was released. So unfortunately, unless you got it right away, like many things with CM, unless you buy it right away when you see it, it's no longer available on the website. You might be able to find it on an in search of site, but we don't have it available on the website anymore, unfortunately. But that is the punch that they've used to create the embellishments for these smaller circles. And they've punched them out of the extra paper that we cut. Okay, so you can certainly do that. You could also, and this is just an idea that just popped into my head, if you have the circle punch, let's see if it is the right size. Hang on just a second here. Oh, I got this new punch roundabout from Stamp & Storage, and I keep forgetting that I put all of my main punches like this in that. So what I'm curious about is whether this, I think this would be framed just perfect. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try it anyway, and we'll see. We'll see if it works. I'm going to punch using my circle punch, which is a 1 3/4 inch circle. I'm going to punch it around my cute little pumpkins. And then I'm going to stick that right in the middle, right there. I think that's super cute. And you could use that with any of these cute little gourds. Or you can use this and then add an embellishment if you wanted. So we could do something like that and then maybe add a little sticker to it. Let's see. Maybe I could do one more. It's going to be a little flat because I wasn't careful about where I placed my circle. But we could do like that. Ah, no, it's all stuck. Okay. Anyway, just an idea of something that you might want to try. Or you could, if you really like the trees, we could punch some of the trees and put those on. I think that would be cute. So just some possibilities there for using a couple of other punches. If you don't have the gourd punch, you could certainly do that. I think that would be really cute. Then we can also go in here with the stickers that match the collection. Let's see. Leaves are falling, autumn is calling. Apple of my eye, falling for you. Pumpkin pie time, autumn adventures. I love these signs. We ought to use those somehow. Maybe with some trees. I love the Adirondack chairs too. Those are really lovely. Okay, let's just do some quick fun with this. So I'm going to use my repositionable adhesive just in case I change my mind and I want to move it. And I'm just going to place these on here, these circles. And then we'll see if there's something that we can do to kind of jazz up these ones that are a little bit off center, or you know, whatever. Okay, so there's that. All right, so then I think I need one of these chairs. These chairs have always just reminded me that it's time to kind of sit back and relax. So I'm going to put this kind of in the middle of my half circle. And then I may have to lift that up again now that I'm thinking about it. I'm going to add this one. This tree is going to go with my chair. Behind my chair, even though I already put it down and it's very sticky. I'm carefully going to lift it back up again. So that I can put this tree behind it. Now, what that's going to mean is that my photo that's going to go down there is going to be in the way. So I'm going to stick a foam square on the back. All right. I'm going to put a foam square on the back of this sticker. It says here in small print. Come on, cooperate with me. Okay. And I'm going to leave the tab on the foam square. Okay. I'm leaving the tab on the foam square so that I can slip my photo in behind it. I'm not popping the whole thing up. I'm just lifting up the top of the sticker so that I can slip a photo in behind it. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, and then I'm going to just take a couple of these leaves and add them here at the base of my chair. Let's add another one. Let's add a yellow one. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a scene right there. We've got, I'm going to add a gourd. That's a cool looking gourd to this circle, like that. Then I'm going to come up here to the top. And I'm going to add these two trees because I just love them. And I know they used them in the sample, and usually I try to do something different for you guys, but I love these trees. I think they're cool. So I'm going to put those in here. And I probably should not have put them together right like that. They need a little more evenness, just so that they will fit better. Okay, so there's those trees, which are cool and cute. And I could have added the other chair up here just for some balance, but I didn't, which is okay. Let's see, I think we'll put this crooked neck squash with this pumpkin. Bring a little more yellow up there. And I need something else for over here. Let's do a title, which thankful, grateful, comfy. Without knowing what I'm going to put on here, it's hard to choose. But yeah, let's do beautiful views. I like that. Okay, I'm just going to kind of offset that just a little from the trees over here. All right, and that is going to be my version of the Autumn Cottage project recipe. I like it. I think it turned out really nicely. That's cute. And this goes together really, really quickly. You'll notice that the thing that took most of the time was figuring out the embellishing, because that's how I roll. It takes me more time to do the embellishing, because once you use a sticker, you don't get to use it again. And even though I bought 2 packs of stickers, I have a hard time choosing. So don't hold it against me, okay? All right, well, thanks so much for joining me today. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Take care, everyone.